Welcome back, everyone. Kevin Shea with Jim Wilson, the sports editor for the Telegram and Gazette, Home Team Magazine. And hard to believe, Willie, but we're 4 weeks into the season. We're at the halfway point
of the
season.
Point.
We're going to get one bit of business out of the way because we have to get it out of the way first. And then we're going to get into the real meat of it when that's some great matchups that we have this week. But first, we'll talk about Kevin Mensah. You and I are taping this on Tuesday night. The saga, the soap opera continues. So Mensah going into Worcester Superior Court tomorrow on Wednesday. Again, we're taping this on Tuesday night. He's trying to get the injunction to play for the rest of the year. He got an injunction last week to play just for that week because the lawyer was late. So essentially, Kevin Mensah has won twice in Worcester Court, Superior Court. He's looking to win again.
A long national nightmare. I mean, I think at this point, everybody just wants an ending. Whether it's Mensah can play the rest of the year and the MIA gets shot down in court. And that's what they're going to go for tomorrow with Wednesday for the injunction. They want to do it for the whole year. They're done with the Friday night, get the black SUV with the balloon flashing, send them down to the game afterwards.
Yeah.
He's going to be showing up in court in football pads the next couple of weeks because it's every week he's trying to fight this injunction. They want to know one way or the other, can you play or not? Let's settle it once and for all. The problem is I didn't think it's going to be that way because I think whatever side loses tomorrow is appealing. But at least if the best case scenario for Kevin is he gets the injunction, he plays the rest of the year, and they can worry about it later. Because I don't think the appeal is going to be heard the next week.
No,
I think they might get a couple weeks to just sort of cool their heels a little bit. And so like I said, we say this every week. I lose track of what I'm saying. I don't want to repeat myself.
Right.
But I'm sure. And the sad thing is, the MIA has to fight this. Even though people look at it and say, why is the MIA doing this? Can't they let him play? Kevin's a good kid. Didn't mean any harm. The fact remains, if they lose this, then other coaches in other sports, in other cities and towns can say, well, why can't I have or a parent can say, I'm going to send my kid to this soccer factory, or I'm going to send my kid to this baseball powerhouse because they said it's okay with Kevin Mensah doing this in Shepherd Hill. He can move to school choice and still play and not have to sit out for a year or not get a waiver.
Right. How much pressure do you think the MIA is getting from Central Mass schools to continue this fight?
It depends on who's on the Shepherd Hill schedule. That's what it seems to be. It seems
you're
to be,
right.
If you're on the schedule, you have a vested interest in it. You're refreshing Twitter to find out what the results are. But if you're, I don't think Quabbin cares.
Right.
I think they might. I mean, they should because, like I said, it's a precedent-setting thing.
Right.
And so it could have ripple effects. And that's the problem because I don't think Kevin Mensah wanted this to happen. I think he wanted to play football. He thought, for whatever reason, that going to Shepherd Hill would increase his chances and it's a better situation for him. And that's all he cared about. At the end of the day, he got bad advice from adults, and now he's in this situation. Right. Now we're trying to fight it. So at the end of the result, he just wants to play football.
Well, and the other thing, too, is and I've said this before, if Kevin Mensah doesn't do an interview on a website, then I think he gets it no matter what. I think Holy Name signs it initially, and you never have a problem with this. I think the biggest thing that hurt him was on seeing in print, in a printed form, because as you and I have said, there is evidence and there are cases of kids moving from school to school for girls basketball. There's a ton of them for girls basketball, for boys basketball, for baseball, for soccer, for swimming, for gymnastics. Doesn't matter the sport. There's a ton of precedent for this that schools signed off on. The biggest thing I think for this was that he did an interview, and that's it. And then it was in print there. He said, I think, it'll help me football-wise because they've sent some kids to Division I.
But what precedent does that set, though? So you lie on your form, you say, you know what, I'm not religious anymore. I don't want to go to Holy Name.
Right.
And that's okay. People are supposed to say, oh, okay, whatever. But they all know the reasons why.
Right.
So, I mean, I think at the end of the day, whatever his reasons were, they put education purposes for wanting to go to Shepherd Hill, and that raised a flag because Holy Name didn't want to be, say they're not as good of an educational school as, that's what the lawyer told me last week. So but because they were untruthful, what kind of precedent you said? He lie on the form like every other school, just sort of fudge it and say, I'm transferring for this for a waiver? I mean, I don't know. It's a slippery slope for a lot of these schools to say, what's going to happen now? What's going to happen in the future? What's going to happen to the kid next year whose parents want him to change schools, or whose kid wants to play with his friends from his summer basketball team? Right.
Well, and that's the thing, too. And what does the MIAA say to this when you have people that are their summer AAU basketball coaches, and now they coach at a high school, and all of a sudden 2 or 3 girls are coming from other schools to play at that high school, and they're school choicing in to play for their AAU coach who happens to be that high school coach. And, you're an administrator at one school, and you are signing the form for girls to school choice at another school where you're the coach. That's the one thing about when I look at this and I say, okay, if you're the MIAA, and they're going to make the argument that, okay, this makes it'll make it wide open to free agency, basically, in high school sports. No, it's not. No, it's not. Because you know what? This has been going on for years. It is not going to change one way or another whether Kevin Mensah plays the rest of the year or doesn't. Let him play. Let the kid get looked at by colleges and do what's right for him.
I like playing Mad Libs with your little examples. Like, ooh, what is he talking about?
And you know what I would say too? Holy Name finally came around on this. Pope Francis had the Year of Mercy when he said let's have the Year of Mercy. That was supposed to go through November.
Listen to the Pope.
Now Holy Name did not originally jump on board with this Year of Mercy with Kevin Mensah, and now they came around and now they're backing Kevin Mensah. But can we just go with Pope Francis here and just follow the Year of Mercy and let Kevin Mensah play?
I just want to write about power rankings. That's all I don't.
All right, now we're going to get into some games. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty now and some of the great games we have coming up this week, starting with the battle for Shrewsbury. We got Shrewsbury St. John's. The game has been moved to Friday night. They're going to play at Assumption College. Great venue. It's going to be a great game because you have two teams that are really, really playing well right now. You look at Shrewsbury, and Mike Melzena at linebacker is going to be one of the key players, I think, for Shrewsbury. Because Shrewsbury, first and foremost, you've got to stop Peter Oliver. You've got to stop that St. John's rushing attack. So you look at a guy like Ryan Trokey at safety. He's the 3-year starter for Shrewsbury. He's going to have to be physical and continue his good play. Malzena's going to have to continue his good play. And you're just the leaders are going to have to step up for Shrewsbury on the defensive side of the ball.
Exactly. That's pretty much. It's almost like, what do you stop on St. John's? I mean, you got Peter Oliver, you got Dan Byers. You got a lot of good. Both running backs over 300 yards this year. So it's like you choose your poison kind of thing, which is what the mark of all these good St. John's teams are. What athlete do you stop?
Right.
I mean, every year they have like a class of kids who come in. Either they have a great quarterback or a great skill position, light or they always have the great athletes. So now they have a couple good running backs. So I think Stephen Buchaglia at quarterback is going to be a great passer when it's all said and done. I think he's going to put up some great numbers. He's third in passing already. I think he's going to continue on that trend. He's got Pilata and Kamal Saunders. I think great targets.
Yep.
So it's like who do you, if you're Shrewsbury coaching staff, who are you looking at and saying, okay, this is the guy we got? How do the Patriots stop all these guys? They take away their best player. Well, who's that for St. John's? They have so many good players.
Right, that's true. And you look on the other side of the thing for Shrewsbury offensively. Drew Campanale, sophomore starting quarterback, started as a freshman. This is his team now, though. And he has grown tremendously as a leader, as a passer, his understanding of the offense. A.J. Laramie and Tim Rio, the two running backs, especially when they're both in there together. Now, that puts a ton of pressure on the St. John's defense. You look at guys like Tommy Farraco at the defensive end, Hunter Gorgas at tight end, get some run on the defensive side, too. These guys have to stop two very strong and two very shifty runners for Shrewsbury.
And Shrewsbury came off an emotional win over Marlborough last week, stopping the 2-point conversion as time expired. They sealed the win, so they know going up against it, they can win these good games, these big close games. They're tested now.
Yep, and you look at Chris Campbell, Jared Godick, two physical players, unselfish players too for Shrewsbury. When you talk about Steve Buchaglia, I got to see him play against Neshoba last week. What really stands out to me is his poise. He's got great poise back there. The big long touchdown pass he threw, which was the game winner. He's back. He had a lot of time. Now, internally, a quarterback, usually it's like 3 seconds, 2 seconds in your head, 1, 2, 3. If I don't have anything, okay, I got to get rid of the football. Buchaglia rolled to his left. Then he started getting pressure, made a man miss, rolls back to his right. Two defensive linemen coming clean to hit him. He knew he was going to get hit, stepped into the throw, threw a beautiful ball for the touchdown. That was the difference in this game. Hunter Gorgas is another guy, though, the tight end. He's a Shrewsbury kid, played AYF in Shrewsbury, so he knows these kids very well on the Shrewsbury side. He's going to be a big factor because he's so big and tall. He's athletic. And then I look at Zach Pedoni, too. And you look at the great bloodlines. Mike Pedoni, his father was a great player at St. John's, is a phenomenal coach, was a great player at BU, phenomenal coach at Holy Cross. Zach, not in the three-point stance. He's the first Pedoni not to get in the three-point stance because I think he's the smartest Pedoni.
They won't talk to him in the holidays because of it.
He caught a touchdown pass against Shepherd Hill. I think he's a good player, too, and another X factor because both with Buchaglia and with Pedoni, their fathers were coaches. They understand the game really well.
Exactly. I think that's what's going to come down. I think it's the X factors. Who's going to be the hero of this game? I love the fact that it's at Assumption now.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Shrewsbury wants to have the home game every other year, and it's a Shrewsbury town thing, but this game is so big it should be at a college every year because I think they're going to bang the place out, especially on Friday night. It's going to be a great atmosphere.
Northbridge and Grafton, this is going to be a great one, too. Jack Marzik now is the quarterback for for Northbridge the last 2 weeks, and Northbridge has been putting up some big numbers offensively. Marzik's a great athlete, and everyone knew that in Northbridge coming in, and now you're seeing him at the quarterback position making plays. He's got a great arm, he's got an accurate arm, but he can make plays with his feet. I think that's going to be the difference this week, because Grafton up front is unstoppable. Grafton has a great offensive and defensive lines. That's where they win games. They have the best player in Central Mass, in Ifatu Melifonwu. He, for my money, is the best player in Central Mass. But they're winning because of the line. Exactly. Defensive, offensive lines. They're going to get pressure on Marzik, but he can make plays. And that's what's, to me, is can he make enough plays against that front seven of Grafton, and then can they tackle Melifonwu? Because no one's been able to do it in Central Mass so far.
This will be a similar when Grafton played West Boylston a couple weeks ago. It was like the bigger playmaker. Who would McCoubry at West Boylston or Melifonwu or Grafton? Who would come out on top? Both Division I athletes, and it's a matter of just we got your best and your best at the same field. Let's go.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the same thing with Northbridge. I think Marzik was one of the guys when everybody's looking at the team they had last year with Northbridge, with Schofer and all those seniors, they had a tremendous team. He was what's going to happen next year. Marzik was one of those guys that the coach would talk about as a leader that could step up and carry this team on. And I think the first couple of weeks he was sort of like put your athlete on the field and have them get the plays, get under the linebackers, make some big moves. Moving to the quarterback is exactly what made Schofer so good, and quarterbacks before him, Brown and all those guys, all the legends in the hallways. I think having he's a playmaker. He has a ball in his hands every play now. And let's see what Grafton can do to contain them. Because, like you said, the linemen of Grafton are going to come at him hard. And let's see what Northbridge can do to counteract that.
No, you're right. And going back that lineage of Northbridge quarterbacks, they've more often than not, they're athletes that can run with the football as well, not just straight pocket passers. And that's one of the things now that they have with Marzik is a kid that can run and can just put a lot of pressure on defenses. And we want to congratulate, too, the Grafton coach, Chris McMahon, getting the New England Patriots Coach of the Week honor today, and getting a check for $1,000 to go towards the football program, too. But Mac, very well deserving of this. He's done such a great job, and this whole staff has there at Grafton.
I'm happy to see them reach out to Central Mass and find one of the better coaches. I mean, he's done a great job with that program. After Mike Ross left, they haven't missed a beat. They've been competitive every year. Great. The kids love playing for him. He's fantastic for that program.
Yeah, and he puts in so much time and effort into there. He's watching film and watching huddle at 3 in the morning, and as all these high school coaches do. But he's obsessed with doing the best for the kids and does a phenomenal job. So Chris McMahon, congratulations on the award from the New England Patriots, Massachusetts Coach of the Week. All right, looking at Wachusett and Doherty. Now you look at this game here, and Wachusett getting some votes. Some number one votes in the poll. This guy voted him number one this week. They've been very impressive. To me, they've been just so impressive. Anthony Bohonic, as a running back and a linebacker, is one of the best two-way players in Central Mass. He's so physical. I mean, he hammers people defensively at linebacker, and he's a physical, hard-nosed, typical Wachusett running back. He wants to run over you and not around you.
He's like the prototypical Wachusett player. Dubs put him in his just like run him out of his garden in the backyard. And this is who I want.
I love it.
Be the center, be a focal point of my offense and a focal point of my defense. Because like you said, he loves to hit. He's a great running back. He's one of, like we said last week, this is like the prototypical Wachusett team of just a bunch, like a stable of like 3 or 4 running backs that can get the job done. All right, you want to stop for a title? Fine. I'm going to get a face full of Bohonic the rest of the game, and he'll carry the load. I mean, they just love, they have a couple big wins on the season. They're for real.
Yeah, you're at 356 yards rushing last week against Leominster. Mike Fiorelli, the quarterback, does a great job. No, you're right. You're not going to. That Leominster coaching staff is really good, real experience. They make adjustments. They could not stop the Wachusett running attack. 356 yards. I mean, that's willpower, it's strength, and it's playing, like we've said, playing physical. Not many teams want to hit for all 4 quarters. Not many teams want to say, hey, listen, we're going into a 2-hour fight. We're going to hit you from the first minute to the last minute. Wachusett's one of those teams. They're going to hit you in the first minute. They're going to hit you in the end of the 2 hours, too.
Just as hard.
Yeah.
There's no drop-off. They love that kind of, it was a perfect game for Wachusett. They established dominance. Like you said, almost 40 yards of rushing against a very good Leominster team. And the record, they've had, when's the last time Leominster lost 2 straight games?
Right. You and I were talking about that. I don't know
I'll get Bill Ballou on it because I'm sure it doesn't happen often.
No.
Anyway, so I think they're having that. Leominster's going into a game against Algonquin, a must-win game for both teams because I think Algonquin coming off a Shepherd Hill loss, they want to put in the rearview mirror as fast as possible.
Right.
So I think Wachusett having that sort of beat their chest kind of game coming into Doherty. Doherty's coming off an emotional loss to St. Peter Marion. It's a game with a lot of eyes on it.
Yeah, 20 seconds left. Another game with a lot of eyes, divisional-wise, Auburn and Uxbridge. Auburn's undefeated. Uxbridge is really a strong team. They lost their quarterback last week during the game. Who knows if he's going to be back, Max White-Cohen, but it certainly affected them in that loss.
It should be a good game because I think this is probably Uxbridge's toughest test to date. A very good Auburn team. I think the coaching staff likes it. A little quiet about it, so it's not like the usual Auburn steamroller. But they're quietly perfect, and don't worry, we're getting eyes on you soon.
Yeah, they're playing phenomenally. We will put them under the microscope very soon. All right, all the time we have, Willie. Thanks again. We will see you next week with more of the Kevin and Willie segment, but plenty more of the Frenzy Extra coming your way when we take a break. Andy Lacombe will take it from here.
More Mensa Talk coming up.